Hey friends, welcome to a brand new chapter of Old Man Brad. If this is your first time in, thank you for giving me a listen. I really do appreciate it. And if you are returning, love having you back. For those who may not know, this is a podcast where I talk all things horror, and sometimes I combine it with my love of Tubi with my series Tales from Tubi. Just subscribe so you never miss any chapter of Old Man Brad. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. The plan was to release a Tales from Tubi episode on Thanksgiving, but unfortunately, life happens and I did not get the episode done, so we'll have to save that for another time. This week, I'm going to talk about a few things that I watched over the holiday, and I'm going to give you a little spoiler-free as I possibly can thoughts on the new ScreamBox exclusive anthology film, Night of the Missing. Before we dive into that stuff, I just want to say, like I said, just subscribe to the show. But if you love Old Man Brad, please drop me a rating and review on your favorite podcast app, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, whatever it may be. Just drop me a little review. Let me know what you think of the show. And for those of you who have, thank you so much. All right, let's dive into it. First off, I'm going to talk a few things that I saw over the holiday week. I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. As you know, there is a film that dropped in the theaters recently called Thanksgiving, directed by Eli Roth. I was so excited for this movie to come out. I did go see it over my holiday week, and oh my gosh, I absolutely loved the crap out of this movie. It was such a blast. It was so bloody, so gory, exactly what I wanted. Over the top, wild, crazy. It felt a lot like you've got this story before. It's nothing that's going to blow your mind or anything. It's like a I Know What You Did Last Summer or My Bloody Valentine type of story, but it's a hard R when it comes to the gore and the kills and everything else leading up to this little twist ending that you kind of sort of figure out along the way, but then you second guess yourself. So by the time you get to the end, you're like, oh, okay, it's not a surprise, but kind of is, if that makes sense. But my gosh, Thanksgiving was such a blast. I cannot wait, one, to watch this again and to own it, to add it to my collection. It will become a yearly watch for sure because this movie just was awesome. Another one that I watched over this holiday week was one of my favorites. This is a movie that is in the recent years become a yearly watch, and that is Black Friday with Bruce Campbell, Devon Sawa, Michael J. White, Ivana Baquero, who you might know. She was the little girl in Pan's Labyrinth. But Black Friday is another just wild movie. It has some good practical effects. It is gory. It is funny. I have a blast with this movie, and when it came out in 2021, I believe, and I loved it when I first saw it. In the last couple of years, it's become my Black Friday watch. I watch it on Black Friday. I have so much fun. If you haven't seen Black Friday, you should go check it out for sure. Well, there are two of my big watches that I had over the Thanksgiving holiday. Thanksgiving, which you can see in the theaters right now, and Black Friday, which you can watch at home. Recommend both of them. Now it's time. We're going to jump into my mini review, spoiler-free mini review of Night of the Missing.
Now what's this all about?
She asked for you. That's all I know.
Seems like you've had yourself quite the night from the looks of you.
I'm here to report a missing person. So many. Have you found any of them?
Some of them disappear without a trace.
Vanished.
Set on a stormy night on Christmas Eve, a small-town female sheriff who secretly is a serial killer, gets a visit from a mysterious woman who tells 4 bizarre stories. Night of the Missing is written and directed by Samuel Gonzalez Jr. This is an anthology movie that, like it said here in the synopsis, it has 4 separate stories, and all of them are weaved together, basically connected by this police station story. This mysterious woman who comes in, and the sheriff, they're sitting down, they're talking, and this woman starts telling stories, and it's connected with missing persons posters. Basically, she's telling these missing persons stories. There are 4 different ones. I'm going to come out and say right away that I really did enjoy this movie quite a lot. As you know, I have talked many anthology films and talked about many, and as always, some stories are better than others. I always say that. This movie kind of has some similarity anthology-wise with one of my favorite horror movies of the year, Satanic Hispanics, that also takes place in a police station, which is kind of a coincidence. They're completely different movies from each other, but it is a stranger telling these stories to police officers, and it's interweaved in between each story. So it definitely has the similarity there to Satanic Hispanics. But other than that, like, they're completely different movies, completely different stories. I absolutely loved in this Night of the Missing the interweaved story, the women, and there's a janitor also in this police station. And I thought it was great. It had a very dark, creepy, kind of like a late night, you're sitting by the fire telling stories kind of feel to it. And that's one thing that I absolutely loved about it. I just loved that feel. And then you get into the stories. There are 4 stories. We All Scream, Night Flirt, Miniature, and You Promised. They start out really strong. They kind of, as they go along, get a little weaker towards the end. I really enjoyed We All Scream. I think it might have been the shortest one. It's either that one or Miniature were the shortest stories in this. We All Scream is an ice cream man and has some great lighting and shadows, and there's a part with an arm that's all I'm going to give away that I loved, that I thought was just creepy and awesome. So it started off strong. You hooked me in with this police officer and this mysterious woman telling a story. And then you go into the first story of We All Scream. Loved it. I'm like, I'm all in. Let's keep going. Give me more story. And then we get into Night Flirt. I believe it might have been the longest of them all. I don't remember. Between Night Flirt and You Promise, those are the 2 longest of the 2. But Night Flirt is a very good, like, single location woman at home story that stars Gigi Gustin and has Bill Moseley in it. And those who are into horror know who Bill Moseley is. He has his voice on the phone, and you immediately know who is talking on the other end to this woman. And it is a great little story, as it starts out a little slow, and then there's a phone call, and things get creepy. There's some supernatural aspects, and it's such a fun little dark, twisted little story in it. Then you get to Miniature that has Jenna Cannell, who those who have seen Terrifier would know. I wanted kind of more from this one. I wanted a more of a story of how we got where we were with this woman. I feel like the way it kind of starts is it just kind of drops you right in, and you get going. There's this older man. You want to know more of what's going on, more of the story, and then it gives you this little twist at the end that you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then the last one, You Promised, it was the weakest of all 4 stories. I think mostly because it felt almost a little long. I mean, this whole film is only less than an hour and 20 minutes. It might have been 77 minutes. It's a quick watch, an easy watch. But this last story kind of felt like it went on a little too long, about this man who's on a house arrest and owes these people money. They killed his wife previously, and shit hits the fan, basically. It leads up to this crazy end which I enjoyed. I liked it. Like I said, all 4 stories in this are great. And the interweaving police station I really loved, which led up to an end that kind of had a little twist to it to finish things off. And I would recommend checking out Night of the Missing on ScreamBox. All right, so that should do it for another chapter of Old Man Brad. Gave you a few things that you should watch at home. Check out Night of the Missing on ScreamBox. Go watch Black Friday. And if you make it to the theater, go check out Thanksgiving. If you don't want to miss any episodes of Old Man Brad, just make sure you subscribe in your favorite podcast app. Also, drop me a review over wherever you listen. I would love to know what you think of the show. Follow me online. I have links in the description, or you can find me mostly, I'm on X quite a lot, at To Be Tuesday is what I am over there, at least right now. And I'm at Old Man Brad, Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram, all those places. Just connect to me and tell me some horror movies that maybe I should check out, and I'll add them to my watch list if I haven't seen them, or something you would love to have me talk about. Just drop me a line and say, hey, you should do a review of this movie sometime. Well, I will be back soon with a brand new chapter. Just snuggle up in that blanket, turn off the lights, because it's okay to be scared. We'll talk to you later, everybody.